Very good evening to one and all present here, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me give a brief introduction about myself. So my topic today is AI, artificial intelligence, and its wheels and pedals in diagnostics and consultation. As Dr. Sanjiti has given a brief introduction about me, my name is Shronika Cannon. I am a clinical R&D at MeFi Care. I have a background of biomedical blood science degree, at which I have completed at Keele University, the UK. I have also completed biomedical engineering with Sheffield University. My role in MeFi includes working with the clinical research team. My role solely is responsible to validate all the information that are being produced, if it's clinically verified, before giving them into the end users. I am also actively involved in conducting extensive and intensive clinical trials, internal and external, and I am also working with the quality check and see if all the prototypes and the devices that we make are verified clinically and working well. So moving on to the topic today, that's a brief introduction about me. So AI, I just want to start giving a definition of what AI, artificial intelligence, is, and then I can move on to the applications that we use in today. So artificial intelligence is basically the ability of a computer or a computer-performed robotic task performed commonly associated with intelligent beings or human beings. So it is basically mimicking of what a human task or human brain does a particular task. It is currently evolving in various different fields and not just healthcare, but today I am here to talk about how AI is extensively used within the healthcare department. AI, some of the applications include AI deep learning algorithms or machine learning algorithms, which are being used to shave down the time it takes to diagnose a serious illness. It is a widely used application, which I will be elaborating further in the presentation. Another application is using imaging technology and supporting radiologists and pathologists and assisting them in diagnosing a specific illness based on the entire huge amount of data that are available by images. Another important application is making use of the vast healthcare data that is available to us and automating all the processes that are still being used and administered manually. It is also even to pinpoint and say where it goes wrong, and from a patient coming in and walking into a clinic to the treatment process and the end results of the entire patient outcome. Moving on to various applications and how it is transforming healthcare now. There are common misconceptions of what future of AI would be and how it is. I think people are conceptualizing that AI is becoming wide and it might take over, and there are a lot of misconceptions. But to break that and to debunk that myth, it is only there to assist physicians and then make better clinical decisions. Basically just to improve the patient outcome in general, as well as assisting physicians to make that. AI is or not just used in one particular sector that is just diagnostics. It can be included from as advanced as robotic surgery to medical assisted diagnostics, prediction analysis, and automated workflow, and even some of the admin tasks that can be using AI, it can be simplified and making it more useful for the healthcare practitioners. So the availability of the healthcare is massive. There are a huge, I think, evolving analytical methods has made it possible. Recently, especially with the COVID, there are a lot of applications that are currently available in making the prediction or diagnosing a particular set of infection or a disease much more easier. There are also an application where frequently asked questions or interactive AI robotic chatbots or a bot which aids in interacting with the user and assuring or explaining what any clinical health data that they are looking for. So some of the applications that are currently used globally, I think Siri, Alexa, and Cortana are some of the very simple applications that you can get on your mobile devices and laptop, and I think almost everybody are using such devices. So within the healthcare, some of the examples include Microsoft Hanover project that has been introduced at Oregon, analyzing medical that is used to tailor personalized cancer treatment options. So based on the data that they receive with specific cancer patients and the imaging, they are personalizing their treatment options and making it better for both the patient and the clinicians and healthcare practitioners. Another good example would be the United Kingdom so NHS, the National Health Service, using Google's DeepMind project to detect health risks by analyzing mobile app data. So going into a GP from getting a consultation to your treatment is all using the AI form-based online technique that they are currently using. Another good example would be your Stanford radiology algorithm picked up by pneumonia, just to like a specific medical conditions, and also in diabetic retinopathy, where all these images of retina are being used, and the computer would act as an expert or ophthalmologist and making a clinical decision for you and suggesting what might be based on the data that is available to them. Coming to how MiFi uses AI technology, we have a range of applications that where we use AI and where we can smartly use them and making the users as well as clinicians lives much more easier. So these are some of the applications, your smart report, a smart score, a smart assist, and smart diagnostics. So I will go through one by one and what problems they help solving or they aid in the next slide. Talking about the smart report, it basically summarizes an entire report so that the patients wouldn't struggle to read the entire report and they will be able to read just the concise form of the entire health data, and making the whole experience of visiting a hospital and getting their report much more easier for them to interpret and carry on as well. So the problem that we were addressing was that they are unable to understand. So for example, what a blood test would do or what some of the biomarkers tests would explain. So all these would be like commonly understandable, easy words for them to understand. So this would explain and interpret all these tests, which is relevant, and give them tips so it will make them more at ease. A smart score is another thing that we have introduced, where it is just one number, one score that will give you a generalized way of keeping track, for example, all your well-being, all your lifestyle, how it is impacting your score. For example, how long have you slept or how your daily activities are. So all are conceptualized to one smart score. So the problem we were addressing is trying to keep track. I think a number would be much easier for the patients or the user to keep in mind, rather than keeping a huge report of lab tests or which is high and which is not. So the solution was to bring the huge database and then giving them just one number so they can keep track of. The next one would be your smart assist, where it is a tool designed to provide information and it basically interacts with the users throughout the regular check health visits and making all the procedures and the tests, whatever the questions the patients or the user have in mind, it gives a solution or answers all the frequently asked questions. It's not just useful for the user, but it will also do a follow-up recommendation with the consultant as well. So, for example, the reminder of an appointment or a prescription follow-up, which can also aid in differential diagnosis, and it will create a better diagnostic workflow for the clinicians as well. So they would be able to keep track of the patient's entire history rather than going through each and every note. Just a smart assist would do everything for you with just a quick way. So some other applications that you've used with AI used in healthcare would be the deep learning algorithms. So deep learning, as I said, is nothing but a function within the AI that is used to mimic some tasks like detecting and processing of a certain object and making it as human as possible. So it processes large amount of data, and by doing so, it will decrease the whole diagnosis, treatment, and recovery cycle for all the patients. A very good example that has been used and mentioned in the article published by the Journal of American Medical Association. So it describes a machine learning tool that can analyze thousands of biopsy images and distinguish between environmental enteropathy and celiac disease. Basically, both these medical conditions can be easily misdiagnosed because they both same similar symptoms. So using these the machine learning tool, it would be much easier for the clinician to diagnose which specific disease that the children had using the data that was available. Another good example that was developed at MiFi was COVID-19 AI diagnostic tool with using only 13 common parameters. So it is a predictive analysis application where it will tell you if the user is COVID positive or negative with just using 13 common blood parameters. So on your mobile application, you put down your results of the test that you can get, a common blood test you can get in a diagnostic lab. And using that, it will give you a score of predicting if you might be positive or negative. There are a lot of applications such as this, but they use a huge amount of parameters for it to predict if you do. But MiFi has developed something that can only use 13 common blood parameters. When we were talking about image diagnosis and how the huge rate of imaging plays into identifying, one of the major application is blood cell identification and counting system using AI. So whatever a microscope used to do behind a lab, that I remember using a clicker and counting the number of cells for research purposes. Now the data has been made available, so there are a huge number of data of a cell, and using that, the cell detection algorithm, you can train the model and it will basically identify what type of cell it is, as well as count how many number of cells it is. So after all the verification and the entire process of verification, you will get a final output which says, this is the number of cells, this is the type of cells, and all your details would be, it would be made available for the clinician. The next important at the moment as well, it is widely spoken of, is role of AI in epidemic prediction. One of the studies it is widely used is when we put our data, such as your symptoms or the temperature, it would be used to identify, or if the patient or the user is posing a risk to any infections or predictions based on that. One of the studies showed that the early diagnosis can be performed using such the data with age, gender, and symptoms, and all the vaccinations that is available that the patient has already had. Another way is analyzing the infection spread, of how widely it is being spread, or how the population has been affected with the spread is also being used using the mobile data and AI applications. So the difference between what I said previously and before, so this one is used in disease surveillance. So a pre-existing medical condition can also be monitored using AI. So when a person with all his symptoms and age and gender and all the notes that is relevant, the AI would say if the patient poses low risk or a high risk. In disease surveillance, it can also be used if what type of population that the disease is getting affected to a particular set of patients. It can also see if it's environmental or based on the socio-economic background, what sort of how the disease is being spread, or how it is being monitored. So you can do that using AI. AI in medical devices. So as when you're implementing AI or ML within the healthcare, there is a lot of assurances and because of the safety and the efficacy of the algorithm. So there are obviously a lot of limitations and warnings according to some of the regulatory services, and you have to have that in mind when you are devising any such technology when it is involved in healthcare, basically. Excuse me. Most devices that rely on AI, they fall into the category of SAMD, as the FDA calls it. It is software as a medical device. So a software is acting as a medical device in these cases. They usually intend to work as more than one purpose. So it is not just one purpose that the software is addressing, it is multiple purposes that is used for. And all these processes are defined by the IMDRF, which is the International Medical Devices Regulators Forum. There are the regulations that are to be followed for you to make sure that your AI application is used in the right way and it is efficient and safely used. Another AI-powered or any AI-powered diagnostic device or design will continue to evolve. So a different version of a particular device would come into play in the future as well. So when you are doing that, you will have to keep in mind if it does fall under all the regulations and if it is safe, whatever the software has been updated or a small algorithm has been updated. So that has to go under all these regulatory forums for it to be used by the general public. AI healthcare in India, there are a lot of projects currently in India, and it is evolving over the last decade. If you see, there are so many examples of dedicated hardware and technology with all very intricately designed, engineered for just especially for Indian health ecosystem. AI is primarily used for screening, monitoring, and diagnosing a condition and assisting the process for any clinicians to use. So they are currently used widely, especially in retinopathy, as I mentioned before. So the imaging of that is used in diagnosing a retinopathy can be easily, it can shave down the time of from when the person is diagnosed to the treatment plan. And you can get the right treatment at the right time using AI. So transforming medicine, AI is playing a huge part in it and acting as a significant tool and bringing a huge positive change in medicine. So let's hope we keep it that way and not indulge ourselves in all the misconceptions involved. And we are trying to bring a positive change that whatever the AI can make within the medicine. That's it, the end. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It was an honor and privilege.